Hey, Purpose Walkers. My apologies for the breakdown in communication tonight. There's nothing I could do about it. So, my apologies. I can only apologize to those of you who had your pen and paper ready, who were ready to go with me, and it just never happened. But here we are. We're talking about fear. And I'm not afraid that this didn't work, so I'm jumping to something else. So, bear with me. Now, as Carlos Augustus Meninger, says, fears are educated into us and can, if we wish, be educated out. So fear is something we put into our heads. We've been educated to be fearful. Because when we were born as children, we were not fearful. Think about your son or your daughter. At Christmas time, they want everything in the planet. At Christmas time, if you allow that child, he wants everything in the planet. He wants everything, right? So I'm doing a video for you guys. I'm gonna try on Facebook Live. And see if it will work, okay? So think about that child at Christmas time. That child wants everything. That child believes he or she can have everything. There's nothing that he or she is afraid of. And so they go for what they want very boldly, very bravely. So I'm doing this video for you guys in Facebook, in my Facebook group, because you haven't been able to get this. So don't jump on the Facebook Live necessarily. If you get it, you get it. Now, the enemy in your life is fear. And Gandhi says this. We think it is hate, but it's fear. So what is holding you back from something, your business, your job, whatever? Whatever your answer is, it will in many cases boil down to fear in one way or the other. Now, fear can be useful to keep you alive, but most times, especially if you live long enough, you realize that fear actually is there to literally take away your dreams. So if you live a life where you have the possibilities of reading, the words, and fear is just a big obstacle in your path, I'm going to suggest, I'm trying to finish this Facebook Live and it's not finishing. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay. So delete and finish. I love you guys so much that I'm doing a Facebook Live for you when I've tried 4 times and I've failed. But what can you do about fear? How can you overcome fear? Is the thing that most people tend to ask. How can I overcome fear? Now, the first thing I'd say to you is to face fear to become stronger. Now, you need to tell yourself, I must not fear. Fear kills my mind. Fear is the little death that brings down total obliteration. So I will face my fear today. And you start affirming that. I will face my fear. I will face my fear. Because you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stand up, stop, and look fear in the face. You have to do this. Every time you face fear, you gain the third important qualities that Eleanor Roosevelt mentioned. The next thing that comes along will be easier to handle. And that's what I've come to realize in my own life, is that the moment I face certain fears, I've been in court for the last 2 years, and I know you've heard this story over and over again, but this is a real story. It's part of my life. As I do this video right now, I'm in court on Monday. Tomorrow is Friday, and I need to go and see my barrister. But when I first started court, I was so afraid to the point where I even worked with rubbish lawyers who I knew could not deliver, but I just needed a lawyer anyway. Today, I fire, and I hire various lawyers because I'm no longer afraid of the process. So I want you to understand that. So you need to face fear and understand that facing your fear is one of the best things you can do. You need to understand that you must take time out when you're afraid. Because sometimes in the business of the fear, we don't take time out. And by not taking time out, we miss the whole basis of why we were afraid in the first place. We get so caught up in the fear itself. Yeah? So it's impossible to think clearly when you are flooded with fear and anxiety. The first thing to do is to take time out so you can physically calm down, distract yourself from the worry of 15 minutes. Just go for a walk. So whenever something fearful comes my way, not all the time, sometimes I put on one of my favorite songs. I'll go for a walk. I'll distract myself. I love to wash the dishes with my hands rather than the dishwashing machine. I distract myself. I make a cup of tea. I have a bath. I do something to distract myself. I want you to try that. So the other thing I want you to do is to breathe through the panic. So if you're afraid and it's a panic situation, I want you to literally, your heart will start going faster and faster and you start sweating and you're afraid. But I want you to stay where you are and simply feel the panic without distracting yourself. Yeah? Breathe through it. Place your palm on your hand or on your stomach or on your chest and just breathe slowly. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. And just breathe. The goal is to help the mind to get used to coping with the panic, which takes your fear away. And if you think about when you're really anxious about something and you're panicking and you're like that, the moment you start deep breathing and just taking it rhythmically, the fear start going away. The other thing I think that works for me very well, and I want you to try it as well, is to face your fears. Avoiding your fears make them scarier. Can you think about the person who has a bailiff calling on your door, or you owe money and the bank is always calling? The more afraid you are of answering that phone call, the more you are into that fear. But the moment you pick up the phone and answer them, you may find that they can help you work out a payment plan. When you're in school, for example, you're afraid of getting the maths wrong or the information wrong, and sometimes the teacher really just call you because they want to explain to you how well you've done or how you could do something differently. So you need to face your fear. By avoiding your fear, you are really putting yourself in a bad place. So literally face your fears. The next thing I want you to think about is to imagine the worst thing. So what's the worst that could happen? Perhaps it's panicking or having a heart attack or failing the interview or losing your business, losing your house, losing your relationship, not getting called for that job, whatever it is. But then if that's your worst fear, imagine the worst thing that could happen. And then try to think yourself into a place where it could be better. That, okay, that's the worst, and so what? Right? And so what? And so what? Life goes on. Right? Then look at the evidence. It's sometimes good to help. It's really good for you to think about fearful thoughts. Think about the fearful thoughts. It sometimes helps to challenge fearful thoughts. For example, if you're scared of getting trapped in a lift and suffocating, or scared of trying a job, getting a new job, ask yourself if you had ever heard of this happening to anyone else. So who did you hear get trapped into an elevator? Not many people, right? And ask yourself, what would you say to a friend who had a similar fear? So if somebody's afraid of heights, what would you say to them? And then say that thing to yourself. Because sometimes we're quick to give everybody else help and advice, but we're not prepared to take the help and advice ourselves. Don't try to be perfect. Life is full of stresses every day. Things that stress your children, your relationship, your job, lack of money. All the other things are there to stress you out. Yet many of us feel that our lives must be perfect. Like, hello, it can't be. So bad days and setbacks will happen. It will happen. And it's important to remember that it's necessary, because life is a messy thing. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to say, I won't start that business until I have the right office. I have the right computer. I have the right look. I have the right figure to get married. I have the right... Don't try to be perfect. Visualize yourself in a happy place. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine. Imagine a place of safety and health. And whenever you fear starting that business, close your eyes and imagine, oh my God, that luxury yacht and that nice house, that nice lifestyle, the holidays, all the things that you could have if you don't put fear in front of you. Think about the speaking engagement, the clients flowing into your inbox, the money, the wealth, your peace, your happiness. So close your eyes and visualize a happy place and make happy memories. Remember your childhood. Whatever was happy for you, go back to that place whenever you are afraid of doing something. Whenever I'm afraid of making a big decision, or I'm afraid of getting an answer for something, I always take myself back to Berkshire Whiteman's office when I'm sitting outside that girl waiting to see him. And to me, it's not necessarily a happy place, it's a good place, because it takes me back to a place that reminds me of my resilience. Talk about your fear. Sharing fears take away a lot of your scariness. So if you can't talk about it to a friend, try a partner, a counselor, a mentor, whoever, a business partner. Try a business mentor, a business spokesperson. Try your boss at work. Try somebody who's done it. But whatever you do, learn to talk about your fears. Go back to basics. Lots of people turn to drugs and alcohol or anxiety and those kind of things for help when they are fearful. But everyday things like a good night's sleep or a wholesome meal and a walk in the park or a run, a jog, going to the gym, those are basic stuff you can go back to that will help you with your fear. Reward yourself. Give yourself a treat whenever you get over a fear. So if you are brave enough to forget imperfections and start your business, then pick yourself up and literally give yourself a treat. When you've made the call you've been dreading, for example, reinforce your success for treating yourself. Whenever you get out and say, I'm going to call this person, I'm going to ask for a raise, I'm going to call Ava, I'm going to ask her to coach me. She said yes. Give yourself a treat, because very often we're so caught up in, literally the fear that we are too afraid to literally reward ourselves when we do good. Take action and get busy. Now, inactions literally breeds doubt and fear. The people who are inactive, action breeds confidence and courage. The first time I came on Facebook Live, I wasn't good at it. I'm still not even great. The first time I did a video, I was rubbish. But if you want to conquer fear, you do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get it. Go out and get the job. Go out and get the interview. Go out and start writing that book. Go out and fall in love. Go out and see a business mentor. Go and inquire from the bank about a loan to start the business. Go and call a university. Whatever you need to do, take action. Keep busy, because that will help your fear. There's a Swedish proverb that says, worry gives a small thing a big shadow. And I like that. Worry gives a small thing a big shadow. And while I'm making this video for you, I'm going to put that in the group. And I think I want you guys to get that. Worry gives a small thing a big shadow. So stop worrying about everything. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be, allow yourself to be present. You can't sit around and think and waiting for courage and confidence to come into your lap. It just doesn't come knocking at the door. If you do that, then you may experience the opposite side effect. The more you think, the more you fear is going to be built, and it's going to become more and more within you. So we often build scary monsters in our own heads. So maybe because of things we have learned from the news, TV, or friends, seen example, we just think that so much about something that our minds start literally creating a totally unlikely, horrific scenes or scenarios of what could happen. So what if Ava got turned down for the job? It doesn't mean that you're going to get turned down. So what if Jane wasn't successful at this? It doesn't mean that you're going to be unsuccessful. You have to get to that place where you understand that one person's experience is not necessarily yours. And so I want you to understand that and get to that place where you literally understand that your own life is your own life, and 90% of what you worry about never really comes to reality. Instead, things can become, anticlimactic when we take actions. The belly of everything comes off, it comes off that way. If we dig deep into the belly of stuff, go into the belly, go and get your hands dirty and start surprising yourself and jump up and take actions. Many times we get the courage we need after we have done what we feared. And that is so true. Many times we get the courage we need after we face our fears. I speak fast and sometimes I struggle with my words. But the more I practice and the more I get better at it, the better it gets. So fear is often based on unhelpful interpretations. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You know that. So we must remember that. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And we must remember that every time that fear is false evidence appearing to be real. Fear doesn't exist. Fear is not what they say it is. Fear is in the head. Fear is in the mind. And we have got to stamp out fear. It's false evidence appearing to be real. And the moment we remember that, we're going to be in a better place for it. So Every time you feel afraid, remember it's false evidence. It's so false. It is so false. Tonight, I could have gotten fearful that this is not going to work. I didn't think about it. I kept trying. The reality is it did not work. What did I do? I resolved to doing something else. I do a video. And that's the whole point. And I'm going to take a different teaching moment here. Is that we must remember that technology can fail us. So I'm still a pen and paper person. And I want to apologize for those of us who are waiting for this call, who didn't get to see it live. And I'm trying to do my best by doing this video. And I hope it can help you guys to get something from it. Now, as human beings, we like to look for patterns. We like to look for regularity. But the problem is just that we often find negative and not just helpful patterns in our lives based on just one or two experiences that we've had. So, for example, I could be misjudging a situation by saying, oh, well, I'm not going to date another African guy, for example. Well, how do you know that another African guy won't be good? Or saying, well, I'm not going to have any more children. I don't want to have any more children, by the way, because that experience was hard. How many people have had 3 or 4 babies that were difficult pregnancies, but the 5th baby is okay? Right? So we're going to start thinking about that thing that is in our head about, because we open up, to re-examining old beliefs, we must understand that examining old beliefs are going to be very good for us to change the pattern, change the cycle, and literally put us in a place where we start understanding and appreciating that fear is false evidence appearing real when you give too much energy to it. Don't cling to your illusion or your safety. Don't do that. Avoiding danger is not safer in any way in the long run than outright exposure. So some people say, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I'm so scared. The fearful are caught as often as the bold. So how many times do you see the people who are fearful being caught? And the bold sometimes don't even get caught. It's a reality. That's how it goes. So avoiding danger is no safer than literally having a go at something. Avoiding starting that business is no more safer than keeping a job. Let's be real about it. So security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature. Life is either daringly adventurous or nothing at all. So please, stop thinking that you have security. I've got security in my job, so I won't try that business. I've got security in my relationship, so I will just sit down there and not go back to university. I've got security. It is false. It's really, really false. Security is a superstition. I want somebody to hashtag that. Security is a superstition. And I want you to understand that, because a lot of us don't get it. Security is a superstition. And as I'm making this, I'm actually posting some stuff in the group so you guys can see that as we go along, that I'm actually not just here sitting down, but I'm still working on what you needed to get. I'm still working on what you needed to get, guys, because I want you to get it. Oh my God, my light is so fearfully glimmering right there. I want you to get it. I want you to really, really get what I'm trying to say to you. And as I open my inbox, I can send an email from Eric Thomas that I can't look at right now. So we're winding down. Now, I want you to be curious. Curiosity will conquer fear every day, any day, any day. The person who is curious will always conquer fear more than bravery and will. Curiosity will conquer fear even more than those who are brave. I want you to remember that. Curiosity will conquer fear more so than the people who are brave. So in your fears, be curious. I want you to be curious, because curiosity is a good thing. When you're stuck in a fear, you are closed up. You tend to create a division in the world and in your mind. You create barriers between you and other things and other people, right? But when you're curious, on the other hand, you're filled with anticipation and enthusiasm. It opens you up. And when you are opened up and enthusiastic, then you have more fun, a bigger, wider, open mind to think about and focusing on the things that you fear. So be curious. Curiosity is a good thing. It opens you up to gain understanding of something. And when your understanding is vague, fog-like fears disappear. I'm telling you. Try it for yourself. How do you become more curious? One may ask. One way is to remember how life feels, how life has become before you were fearful. Now, the last thing I want to say to you as well It's remove separation, remove fear. Who sees all beings in his own self, and his own self in all beings loses all fear. And that was a Hindu scripture, and I love it. He who sees all things in his own fear, in his own self, and his own self in all beings loses all fear. These are some amazing quotations I want to share with you tonight, because I know that a lot of you are so fearful that you don't know how to go, how to start, how to do anything. You are just too afraid to venture out, to take a risk, to try. Now, the ego wants to divide your world. It wants to create barriers, separation, love to play the comparison game. The game where people are different compared to you, the game where people achieve compared to you, all of that game become worse in your mind when you're fearful than somebody else. So all of that creates fear in your mind. Who is better than you? Who is achieving more than you? Why are you stuck? All of that game becomes fear. Okay? So if you stop doing that, it removes fear. If you do the opposite, that there's no real separation between anybody. If you start realizing that there's no better between Ava and Audria, there's no better between Clara and Audria, there's no better between Virus, there is no better with anyone. If you start realizing that there's no better between anybody, then fear will go away. So just to recap a few things tonight. In order for fear to go away, you are going to have to be prepared to understand that you are powerful. You're going to have to understand that you are amazing, and you are better than you think you are. You're going to have to understand that in order to tackle fear, you're going to have to take some things head on. You're going to have a collision with your dreams, because that's the only way you're going to face your fears, by having a collision with your dreams. And if you're not prepared to understand that nobody's better than you, and you need to be curious at all times, that you need to be bold, you need to step up to the plate and literally go, then fear is always going to be in your way. There's no two way about it, guys. There's no two ways about it. If you continue to feel fearful, if you continue to not take a chance, not be curious, not to take a risk, not to talk about your fears, not to face fear head on, not to go back to your basics, not to reward yourself when you've done something right in terms of fearfulness, not to take action and get busy. Fear is based on unhelpful interpretations. You have to remember that. Don't cling to your own illusions of safety. So sometimes we think that job is safe, that relationship is safe, that friendship is safe. It's an illusion. And the moment you continue to cling on to those, you're never going to pass your fearful point. Remove separation. Remove separation helps fear. Not thinking that anybody is better than you while they achieve, and seeing every other being as equally as you. These are some of the simple things that are going to actually help you to get through to your fear. And I can't tell you enough how my own life has been changed because I've started to let go of my fears. I don't have many fears anymore. As a matter of fact, when I think about life, I don't have any fear. I used to have fear of dying, fear of diseases. I don't even have fears of those anymore, because I have come to accept that they are part and parcel of what life really truly is. So in closing, I apologize that we didn't get the network working, but I'm thankful that you sat there with me throughout this. And I'm thankful that you were bold enough to confront the fear of the fact that this is not working and staying with me. I'm bold that I was not fearful to not find a solution to do this video for you. And in that, I'm going to say to you that I want you to join my newsletter, because my newsletter is where I share a lot of other things every week that don't necessarily come to Facebook. And so I'm a bit tired as well, so I'm going to go shortly. My newsletter, I have a lot of things on my newsletter on my website, www.avaeaglebrown.com, that I don't share here. I have a course that I'm about to launch. And for those of us who want to pre-order the course, you get a 20% discount. So if you're interested in understanding how to leap into significance, then I want you to literally put your name under this. It's going to be launching in a few weeks' time. It should be October. We're just working on the last few details of that course, and it should be ready for you soon. So it's called How to Leap into Significance. And part of that is attacking your fears. And I'd be delighted to work with some of you on that in a one-on-one basis, because a lot of you have got fear in your minds, not because you're not able to achieve, but because there have been environmental things in your past, there have been your childhood, there have been situations that have blocked you and have held you down, have downtrodden your growth. And you have to step out of that. And there are some fears in your way that you need to just take your hands and push them to the side, but you just don't know how. And that's what I'm here to teach you, is how to partition fear from your life. And if you're ready to do that, then let's have the conversation about how you can get the course, but also how I can work with you, because I would love to support you. I'm done here, guys. Thank you for watching. Though I'm tired, I really have tried to deliver it as best as I could. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. And don't forget to share this with somebody else. It's Ava Eagle Brunson. Thank you for being in this space. Thank you for being patient with me. And I love this community. I want to see you engage more in this community. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.